Hey, hi YouTube, Mr. User Boss here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the top 5 games that I think the PS4 desperately needs. Now, as you all know, the PS4 is pretty much destroying the Xbox One in the next-gen console war, and I think that games like this, if they're exclusive, would just throw it off the map totally. So the first game that I really want to see on the PlayStation 4 is a new Elder Scrolls game. So I'm sure you guys are all aware that with the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, the Elder Scrolls Skyrim was a landmark game. It was a real leap forward in terms of 3D RPGs, and it really did blow people away. However, it was actually quite limited by the platforms it was on. For example, the PlayStation 3 had so many glitches, bugs, and lots of frame rate drops as well. And I mean, on a next-gen console, this game would absolutely shine. I mean, a next-gen version of Skyrim or the next sequel would just be glorious. I mean, there'd be zero loading times. You could see the whole world standing at one point in the game. You could see every last detail, from water reflections to the hairs on each person's head. And I mean, on a next-gen platform, they could really do a lot with this game. They could just begin to start flexing their muscles. I mean, you could have drop-in and drop-out multiplayer. You could have full online matchmaking and all sorts of stuff. So the second game that I absolutely really want to see is Monster Hunter. Now, the footage you're actually seeing here is of Monster Hunter Online, which was already confirmed for PC release and just looks epic. I mean, for those of you who haven't played Monster Hunter, it's kind of like a niche offering in the West. However, in Japan, it's crazy popular. I mean, the only reason the PSP ever sold well was, well, two reasons. Firstly, it got hacked, and the second was Monster Hunter. I mean, this game is so incredibly popular, and there's a reason for that. It's pretty much one of the most rewarding looting games I've ever played. But it was very limited by the portable form factor. For example, when it released on the PSP and the 3DS, both Monster Hunter games were very toned back. I mean, there were long loading times between areas, very sparsely detailed environments, and, they could do a lot on a next-gen console. I mean, while it may not be a system seller in the West, it would really help Sony to consolidate the Japanese market. I mean, if you just imagine a vast open world where you can just transition from area to area with no loading or stuttering or anything, fighting these glorious monsters in 1080p, it'll just be amazing. Now, I'm really also wanting to see a Borderlands, and I'm sure this will come at some point, probably maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, as, the pre-sequel was already confirmed for release on current-gen consoles only, but I think in time we will see a next-gen Borderlands, and that's going to be great. So I mean, imagine the cel-shaded graphics along with advanced next-gen technologies like HBAO Plus and advanced motion blur. They could do some really neat stuff. Now also, I mean, the whole looting and shooting thing could be expanded to a whole new level. I mean, right now there's something like a bazillion guns, a ridiculous amount, but they could take it to a new level. They could add even more gameplay elements, such as accessories that you could unlock, which were also randomly generated. And, totally new types of weapons, which, they've already announced a couple, like shields and laser pistols. And, I mean, they could just go bananas on next-gen consoles and just throw in every great idea they could think of and make this the game of the year by far. Now, the next one I want to see is a Grand Theft Auto game, and I think that it's going to be a while before we actually see one of these, maybe 2016 or 2017, because GTA 5 has just been released, and that took something like 5 or 6 years to make, so I imagine that a new GTA game is probably in the pipeline somewhere, but not for the current sort of year or two. Now, GTA is probably the #1 game that really needs a next-gen overhaul. I mean, it's very beautiful, even on the Xbox 360 and PS3, but it could be a lot better. I mean, if you actually see the mods that people created on GTA 4 for PC, they did some spectacular things, which just goes to show that with the right amount of power, you can really take it to a whole new level. I mean, you could increase the number of people walking around the sort of streets and create a real hustle and bustle, like you've seen with Assassin's Creed Unity. They've got massive crowds of people which just blend together so seamlessly, and it looks like a living, breathing world. And I mean, GTA is just, it's a massive sandbox. It's one of those games which has hundreds of games within it, and you can just go around, explore, and even after, say, a couple of 100 hours, you probably still haven't seen everything. So clearly a game like this does take a long time to craft, but when it comes, and I assure you it will, it'll blow us away. Now, number 5 is Ratchet & Clank. Now this game has made an appearance on the PS2 and the PS3, and it's only a matter of time before it appears on the PS4. But here's what I want when it actually does. Number one is next-gen visuals. Now I think, just as a sort of consequence of the more powerful internals, we will see a massive leap in performance. But I also want to see improved lighting, improved textures, and a smoother frame rate. I mean, last games did have a couple of drops, which is quite disappointing for a game that's supposed to be really, really polished. They should just go absolutely crazy with the guns. I think they should make loads of new ones, make them very different and unique, and yeah, just keep doing what they're doing because it works. I mean, the formula for Ratchet & Clank has pretty much not changed throughout its whole history, and that's, just goes to show that it really is a great way to actually play a game. One thing I really hope they do is tone down the sort of gadget mechanic things a little bit, because I think they can get a little bit frustrating, and they just sort of beat around the bush a bit. I mean, you play Ratchet & Clank for the weapons and the combat, and then when you're sort of distracted from doing that, or you have to sort of stop to figure out a sort of very tedious but long-winded puzzle, it does kind of break up the experience a bit. Anyway guys, that's it from me. What do you guys think? Any games that you're looking forward to? Thanks for watching guys, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more.